Guys, how are you all doing? It's a girl Cindy, and I'm back again today with another gist. I trust you all are having a good time, amazing time, a wonderful time today. Thank you guys so much for clicking to watch this video. So I know it's been a while I recorded myself reacting to videos. It's just because there's something I'm working on. I do apologize for being away for some time now, but I am gonna be back pretty soon, but I just want to appreciate you guys for always watching my videos, liking, commenting, sharing, and of course, subscribing. Thank you for being here for me. I appreciate it. So I just want to quickly react to this video right here. Now, as a Black woman who was born and raised in Africa, I must say that I never experienced racism. So back in Africa and still now, what we are facing is tribalism, colorism, etc., etc. So back then in Africa, I was just watching videos from Black people in America and UK, Canada, Australia, Germany, talking about racism, basically what they were facing. I was just paying attention, listening to their stories. So at that time, it wasn't really making sense, but I was just paying attention to what they were saying. Fast forward many years later, I am no longer in Africa. I am here right now, and I am experiencing racism from people that don't look like me. And that is why I have dedicated, to talk about racism here on this channel. Not that I'm fighting this group of people, but I'm just creating awareness, expressing myself. This is literally what me and people that looks like me, what we face every day. And that brings me to the video I want to show you. Please have a look at this video right here from this Black woman. I know we have talked about this, but trust me, we can't stop talking about it because it keeps happening literally every day. And this is what Black people, especially Black women, people of color, especially Black women, this is what we face every day. Please check this video out.
Guys, I really don't care how this sounds, but this is not an attack on white women. This is simply in defense of women of color. Please be careful when it comes to jealous white women. From what I've noticed, jealous white women are some of the most vicious, scary, and downright violent personalities out there. People can talk about jealous Black women, people can talk about jealous women, but when someone is used to having something their way for so long, it's almost like a spoiled child getting, like separated from their Xbox, or like not getting sweets, or not getting to stay up, or something like that. It's like they haven't done this emotional work needed to suppress, or I guess express, or understand their jealousy and where it's coming from. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're a white woman and you're listening to this, please do the work necessary to understand where your jealousy towards women of color who are successful or pretty or have something good going for them, where that's coming from, because it is negatively affecting women of color, especially Black women. Because the narrative has always said that Black women are supposed to be the best friend in movies. They're supposed to be the supporting characters. They're not supposed to be the main character. So when a lot of, I notice, white women, there's an internalized sort of misogyny there, but it's also racism, at its core, systemic racism, because movies have always portrayed white women, white people as the saviors, as the protagonists, as the main character. So when you see a person of color, oftentimes when you see a Black woman especially winning, you don't know how to react because you have been taught that this is not the way things should go. So I'm not trying to be aggressive or whatever, I'm trying to give it to you straight. And Black women, be careful. If you work with white women who you can tell are jealous of you, don't really show them what's going on. Don't tell them. Honestly, if you notice they're on that side of being jealous, I'm not saying be reserved, but just, tread lightly, because you don't want them to implode and do, commit something or do something very, damaging to you, your career, your reputation, your health, your mental health. So beware, guys, beware.
Okay, let's just talk about this. Okay, let's just kind of make it a conversation in the comment section today. Okay, let me just start off by asking this question, and it goes to all Black men. Do you experience this at your place of work? I'm going to show you this video is a stitch from this Black man sharing his own story. I just want to know if you experience this from white men. Like, do they tell you that you're dressed too much or do too much? Let us know in the comments. I have put together a few stitches. Of course, Black people stitched her video again, sharing their stories, which I'm going to show you. But before I show you guys the stitches, please note that this video is for educational purposes. It is not to bully anyone or harass anyone, but it's just to create awareness so we all can see and know what is happening on social media, especially on TikTok. Let's check the stitches out.
Please be careful when it comes to jealous white women.
I know this sister here is talking in regards to white women, to Black women in the workplace, and I've seen that, and it's super nasty, and I don't want to take anything away from that. I just wanted to build and add on to it. White men in the workplace, in the corporate workplace, are the absolute worst. Also, when you got to deal with a lot of microaggressions and real aggressions just to survive. Me and my partner were just having this conversation the other day. He's a director in a company, and he was saying how he makes reports and this, and that, and the white woman on top of him that's above him, she'll get his reports, put her name on it, don't make any changes, and get the credit for it. There's so many different things that we have to deal with in the workplace. I literally seen two white men cussing, screaming, about to fight in the middle of the whole company, walk back to their desk and nothing happened. I would have been called into HR immediately. I would have probably been let go that day. HR never even contacted them. It is a different space, different rules, different everything when you have this hue, this color in a lot of these spaces. And one of the biggest lies we've been told, in my opinion, that life is fair. Life is not fair. Life is not fair in these corporate spaces. So I say document everything. Even though HR works for the company, not the individual, work with HR when you can, but just don't expect a lot of them either. Expect a lot out of them either, because they work for the company. Like I said, they're there to protect the company's best interest. They're not to protect the employee's best interest, regardless of what they say. I had another coworker who I seen go into managers' offices and curse them out and turn around and walk back to his desk. He's still there. They let me go. Any conversation that we have as Black people that is not the status quo, that is not toting the line, that is challenging ideas and policies and procedures that we may need better clarification on, or we may not agree with, we could say it in any manner, and that's normally seen as aggressive, and you get labeled a aggressive Black man or Black woman. And once you get that label in the corporate space, good luck to you. Make sure you're prayed up, because they're trying to get you out of there in most instances in that case. And the same rules do not apply to other people. And I've had this conversation with so many of my friends and family members that are in these corporate spaces. And I say any job is a corporate space because they're all run by corporations. It doesn't matter what your title is, but the rules that we have to abide by and how they move the goalpost, and they dangle the carrot in front of you, and as soon as you get near the carrot, they move it back, and then they tell you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, whatever that means. So protect your space, protect your mental, set up your boundaries in these corporate spaces, and just prepare, because these other people are not playing fair. But to play the game, to get the check, if we're going to be in these spaces, we have to play the game somewhat and protect ourselves. Peace.
Scary and downright violent.
I really like this what do you call it? Filter. Okay, fun. Please do go back, follow Lydia. She's really amazing, and watch the whole video. And she talks about that some of this most scary, violent, vicious, scary, and violent personality types are jealous white women. And I have to definitely second that emotion. I not that long ago, I had like a sort of a partnership I was engaged in, and I could tell that there was a jealousy vibe there. And I had I just backed off. I just backed out of it because it wasn't worth it to me. I hadn't known the woman long enough. We were not close enough for it to be worth it to me to get into what I was seeing. Because one of the other parts of this is that while you are in the process of submarining, criticizing, lashing out at this black woman, for you're telling yourself all kinds of reasons why that's so, and the reason is never jealousy. And once you finally are willing to admit to jealousy, it comes with so much rage. A long time ago, this woman did a TikTok talking about how white women imitate black women because, our style and stuff like that, because we're jealous of you, you stupid effing bees. And I'm like, yeah, and you don't understand why we don't think that's a great idea. I know that this is the way that this functions in whiteness. This is something that y'all do to each other all the time. Because when you are taught to center men as your power source, when you are not shown and taught how to interact with your own internal power source, and it has to come from outside of you, women are always your rivals. It doesn't really matter who she is, what she looks like. When all women become your rival. And so, and especially, it gets especially touchy, difficult, I've noticed, for women who are not supposed to be in the competition in the first place. And black women are definitely a group that has been identified by society as one that is not supposed to be in a competition for male power, for leftover male power, right? Through men. And so there's an intense reaction that I've seen white women have with each other when they feel that the woman is, in a body that doesn't seem, that society doesn't tell us is the most desirable body. I've seen some of the most vicious behavior come from white women towards those women who are a little heavier or not as like, who don't meet the beauty standard in whatever way, the feeling that they can do whatever they want to her because how dare she? And there's a lot of how dare she in the way that your jealousy against black women especially comes across. There's a lot of how dare she. And I do recognize that this is something y'all do to each other, but it isn't the way that we operate. And the other piece of it is that there are no sides. Usually when this stuff happens, especially in the workplace, people line up on your side and we're left drifting because nobody's going out on a limb for us, for the most part. Now, I say that's bad for you. It's bad for you because all it does is it makes you feel horrible, and it confirms for you, rather than learning from the Black woman who would be willing to teach, most likely willing to teach the thing that you need to, that the thing that you are jealous of her about, who would be willing to advise. While rather than making her your ally, you decided to torpedo her. And that can't make you feel good, especially since niceness is so important to white people and goodness is so important to white people. That is not a good feeling. And so then you're more angry with her. So here's what I suggest. When next time you come up against one of those really, there we go. Really big feelings, and that makes you want to lash out at another woman, especially another Black woman, at a woman of color. Black and brown women have this experience a lot. Stop. Sit with the feeling and journal. And likelihood is you'll have lashed, but also the likelihood is you'll have lashed out before you noticed what was up. So after that, stop, sit with the feeling, journal, and then apologize. Apology is powerful for the creation of better treatment of other people. When we acknowledge to another person that they deserve better treatment at our hands, we actually teach ourselves to treat people better. It's what it's really one of the things that I learned in the process of learning to control my temper, because I had a really bad temper when I was young. And what I would force myself to do, because I hated to do it, was every time I lost it, I would apologize. Because I hate to apologize. But it would really ground in that lesson. And now, here's the other part of it. Here's where we get to the anti-Blackness part. I mean, we've been there for a bit there, but this is where we really get to the root of it. When that part of you, there's going to be a part that kicks in, that just sort of kicks against the idea of apologizing to that woman of color, especially that Black woman. Sit with that feeling and ask yourself, why do I feel like this apologizing to her is such a big deal? And then journal that feeling. This is not going to be pretty. It's not going to feel good. But remember, this is not about you being a good person or a bad person. This is about socialization, right? And learning to do better. Okay? So no, right now, in this moment, you might not be the kind of woman who is able to or willing to examine the ways that you show up in damaging ways for Black and brown women when you're jealous. You might not be that kind of woman right now. And you might have done a ton of anti-racism work. Many of you will have done a ton of anti-racism work. And you still might not. Now, sitting here watching this video, but the next time you feel the need to lash out at a woman of color, especially a Black woman, stop, sit with the feeling, journal. If you have lashed out, if you've already gone the step too far, stop, sit with the feeling that you get when you start thinking about apologizing to her. But do apologize. It'll do you good.
Wow, I enjoyed that stage. But we all know that white women find it very difficult to apologize, even when they know that what they did was wrong. And of course, they always know what they're doing, okay? But to apologize to a black woman, hell no. But let's just move on with the stages.
Guys, I really don't care how this sounds, but
So if you get a chance, go back and watch that video because she speaks a lot of truth. And I experienced the same thing on multiple occasions, but what stuck out most recently is this job I had when I was in my 20s. And I'm like almost 40 now, so that was a while ago, but there was this job that I had, and it was all white women. And I mean, I was the only black woman, only just me. And they kept complaining because I guess I dressed too nicely. And I did. I was always raised, you look nice when you leave the house. You know, I always had my hair done, my natural hair done, you know, my nails, natural nails done. It wasn't like I was over the top, but I always looked nice. My clothes were always nice, appropriate business attire with heels. And they would get so upset because I dressed up too much. And it just made me think about what she was saying, you know, the jealousy and the not wanting black women to shine. So it's just really interesting that so many women have experienced this. And, you know, I just hope that there's more awareness, because I suffered a lot at that job because of how they treated me, because of the jealousy. And I ended up quitting because there was, lies, you know, trying to say I was unprofessional when I've never in my life been unprofessional. They gave me extra tasks that weren't job related. They'd get upset over little things, you know, like I'm 1 minute or 2 minutes late from getting lunch or whatever it was. So it's definitely something that we need to pay more attention to, and to speak up about things like this, because it's not right. So, but go back and watch her video.
jealous white women are some of the most vicious.
Oh, it's true. And you know what we need to understand? We need to understand that femininity was a tool. Still is, but femininity is a tool to elevate white women as being the standard, right, of like womanhood. But who gives that stamp of femininity? Masculinity. Because masculinity is here to protect the dainty, fragile femininity. And all you have to do is substitute white men and white women with what I just said. Where am I going? What I'm saying is femininity and womanhood, right, is validated for white women through men's approval. Throughout history, they were validated by having laws protecting their femininity and proving their femininity, whereas black women were othered and separated from femininity and had to work, for example, in the States when there were laws that prohibited white women from working. You have white men doing violent acts towards black men for even whistling at white women. So when your femininity and womanhood comes from a place of being validated by men, both black men wanting you and desiring you and white men protecting you, and black women aren't even in the equation, you feel like you's the big bitch on campus. You feel, and you start to believe that other women aren't as desired as you because you are it. What rattles their motherfucking cages is that many black women have come to acknowledge and admire their own beauty from their own inner work. Like, very rarely were we being seen as the standard, right? So we had to make ourselves the standard. And many of us are still fighting against the ways in which white supremacy seeps into the beauty standards of black beauty. But there are ways that we are just repelling, just pushing back against all of these different notions of what it means to be beautiful and showing up in full confidence in a way that white women could never, because they would have to wrestle with the fact that their womanhood and femininity is based on how men perceive them, how men receive them, and how men choose to protect them. And outside of that, what do they have? And then to be the standard and see the very men that made you the standard turn around and admire in your face the woman that they said is the antithesis of you gagged. White women would have to acknowledge how much the patriarchy, white supremacy, all of that contributes to them being able to pride themselves in a beauty standard that enables all types of oppression. They'd have to contend with that. And who's going to do that when they can't even acknowledge that they're culturally appropriating shit?
This is not an attack on white women. This is simply in defense.
I live between 3 countries, and she's not lying, especially European women. I have friends from Europe, so I am not racist. I am just simply giving my experience. Most people globally have watched African American women and women of African descent on TV, and they think that that is how all African American women behave. So when they meet a woman who's educated, well-spoken, beautiful, well-manicured, they don't know how to handle it. They also are extremely jealous that their husbands, their fathers, their uncles, all of the men in their lives literally stare at you the entire time that you are out in a restaurant or wherever you are, market. They are highly attracted to women of African descent. White women do not know how to handle this. In America, I have experienced this in corporate America, but in Europe, you experience this in the markets. They literally act like toddlers or mean girls.
We all know that this type of video will definitely not sit well with some people. Now, some of them dropped some comments in her comment section, which she decided to respond to them by making this video. Please check it out.
But this is not an attack on white women. This is so here I am stitching my own video. How exciting. The reason why I stitched my own video is because I have a lot of people in the comments. Not a lot, but I would say most of the comments have been positive, and people have been like, yeah, I've experienced this too. But there's been people in the trolls, trolls in the comments, and just people, I don't want to call everyone a troll. But people in the comments have been saying stuff like, why would a white woman be jealous of a black woman who's the bottom of the barrel, referring to me and other black women? Well, I'll tell you right now that what you just said actually just further validates my statement. Why? Because the reality is people that already have, quote unquote, a lot more than you, many times will become greedy. They become envious because when they see someone who is the quote unquote bottom of the barrel become successful and make something of themselves in their lives, whether that's you get a degree, you graduate with honors, you're in a happy relationship, you're still working on yourself, you're loving yourself through your difficulties, they're angry and they wonder, why is it that you're happy, and even after all their success, they're still not happy. All their quote unquote success, or what society has given them, or what they've gotten out of life, they're not happy. I'm not saying all white women are not happy. I'm stating that there's a certain group of them that when they aren't happy, or when things aren't going their way, or when they see someone that shouldn't be as successful as they are or shouldn't be surpassing them, they will attack because of their entitlement. And this is especially harmful to women of color. And you can't tell me that the literal hundreds of comments flooding my comment section on that video that I stitched are invalid. Those people's feelings are valid. Those people's experiences are real. And if that many people are if that video is resonating with that many people, you can't tell me that this experience is not real. You can't tell me I'm literally delusional. It is something that has negatively impacted my mental health and my life for years, living in the Midwest/South. And I'm done hiding it. I'm going to talk about my experience. I'm not a victim of my experience. I won't turn into a victim. But I think acknowledging it is the first step to healing as a society. And before you jump in the comments and try to talk about my appearance or talk about me and what you know about me as a person, just know I didn't specifically call anyone out. So if you're so triggered, maybe you need to check yourself.
Now, as usual, after seeing her video, I quickly checked the comment section out. I took some screenshots of comments so you guys can see what other people said about her video. Now, beside me are some of these comments. Please pause to read if you can. I just want to share with you what my friend shared with me, and this is currently happening to her at her place of work. Hear me out. So I was just on phone with my friend. We were just gisting, and I asked her how is she, getting on, with her work because she just started 2 months ago. She was like, "Oh, Cindy, I don't know. Like, I'm tired. These people are making me go crazy." So she told me that for some reason, some white women at her place of work, frowns at her dressing. So this, my friend, loves this fabric right here. Now in Africa or Nigeria, we call it Ankara. Now, if you see her, she dresses very smart, beautiful, smells good, but for some reason, this set of white women don't like her attire. They literally, told her that she dresses too much, I don't know, but she told me that she's going through a lot and she's thinking of resigning. This is what is currently happening. Like, we are not making this up. Anyways, you guys, I thought I should bring this video here. Let me know what you all think in the comments, guys. And thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, share, and subscribe. As usual, I'm gonna see you all in my next video. Stay blessed. Bye.